Money. We can be happy without it. All we need is peace of mind and love. I learned that after spending a week with my wife, barefoot, in the Maldives. Our lives revolve around money. Making it is hard, but holding on to it is even harder. Nowadays, we don't worry so much about robbers that say your money or your life. Now, the real dangers are credit card fraud, identity theft, Black Friday. More than a decade as a financial advisor has taught me that when it comes to money, everyone is an expert. Right up until the point everything goes wrong. Today, I'm going to share with you true stories of actual people. Some of their details have been changed to protect their privacy and my job, but their mistakes are very real. I want you to pay attention because there are lessons to be learned here, and they're not all about money. The comedian Jack Benny advises us to save while our salary is small, because it's impossible to save when we earn more. And he could have been talking about my client Gregory. He was a high-flying executive living it up in Barcelona. He earned so much money, he could buy a Brazilian politician every month. But he never saved a penny. If anything happened to him, it would have been a nightmare for his family. And if nothing happened, they would still be in trouble because there was no way they would ever be able to retire or send their kids to university. I told him, Gregory, don't be a child. There's no guarantee you're always going to earn this much money. His response, of course there is. I'm going to run this company one day, and we are the future of smartphones. I think I forgot to tell you that Gregory worked for BlackBerry. The first lesson is this. It doesn't really matter how much money you make. Don't mortgage your future so you can enjoy your present. You are not your job. You're not how much money you make. That line comes from that famous personal finance documentary, Fight Club. I wish Natalia had learned that lesson earlier. When I met her, she loved her job, and the money was good. But then she got a crazy offer from one of the world's largest sporting brands. Let's call them Mikey. But there was only one problem. She had a teenage daughter who loved going out and being independent. But the job was in Saudi Arabia. That made Natalia reluctant, but she thought, the opportunity and the money are just too good to pass up. So she said yes. They moved there, and her daughter started getting into trouble straight away. Natalia tried reasoning with her, but it's easier finding a funny financial advisor than a reasonable teenager. Before something worse happened, she quit the job, and they came back to Spain. Our second lesson is that you should never put your career ahead of your family. And I must admit, I make mistakes too. I got married at 23. I got divorced at 24. I never wanted children, and now I have two. But my worst mistake was staying at a job I hated because of the money. And it almost killed me. I went to bed tired and woke up exhausted. My back hurt so much from all the stress that I needed painkillers every day and a bottle of wine most nights. If that part sounds like fun, it wasn't. I would start drinking on the Friday, and I wouldn't stop until that Sunday sadness arrived. And every week, it arrived earlier. I was terrified of leaving my job, while the real danger was hanging over my head. I didn't know it back then, but that's what many people do until they can't take it anymore. Depression and suicide cost more lives every year than all the violent crime put together. I'm from Brazil, murder champion of the world, so I'm sadly aware of how that tragic competition is not an easy one to win. As the philosopher Ralph Waldo Emerson said, money often costs too much. In my case, it almost did. Our third and final lesson is this: be careful of the price you pay for your money. These stories, they're not unique. How many of us mortgage our future to enjoy our present? We'll do some of that today, I'm sure. Don't we sometimes put our careers ahead of our families? And how often do we work too hard for too long and tell ourselves the money is worth it? When you get home tonight, I want you to grab a piece of paper and draw a line down the middle. On the left side, write down all the great things that money can buy you. On the right side, put down all that you love but money cannot buy. Look at that list and realize how often you're making a choice: your money or your life. From now on, make sure you choose right.